Hello students. So as promised, here I am with a video on the solution to question 8 in the tutorial 1. I hope you remember the question. The question was about the number of cars which you have passed on a particular highway. So suppose you are driving your car at a constant speed of 70 miles per hour, as I have mentioned here, and then you pass a car and some cars pass you. So now when you say you pass a car, it means its speed is less than the speed of your car, which is 70 miles per hour. Whereas when you get passed by a car, it means its speed is more than 70 miles per hour, which is the speed of your car. So suppose x is the speed of a car driven on that particular highway. So x will be normally distributed with mean mu and the variance as 100 as given in the question. So here mu represents average speed of the car. So what data do we have? So we have data on, so now the number of cars which you pass and the number of cars which pass you. So suppose y is the random variable which represents the number of cars you pass and the other is represented by z. Then it is given that y is 1 and z is 17. Now if you observe carefully, it looks like we are classifying every car into two categories, either this category or this category. So each car will either belong to this or this, means it will get counted either in y or in z. So it is as if we are dealing with a multinomial distribution with just two cells. And now I hope you remember, what do we call such distribution? A multinomial distribution with just two classifying cells. Yeah, I think you will be able to recall, that is nothing but binomial distribution. So suppose, we here are dealing with a binomial distribution. So what will be the likelihood function? So that's why the question, what can be the joint distribution of y and z? So you can easily guess, basically if 18 cars have passed, then z is simply 18 minus y. So either you consider y or you consider z. So So whatever I have discussed here I have written. So now what is the probability that a car speed will be more than 70 miles? So because the car speed is normally distributed, so you can obtain this probability by using the normal CDF. So it will be 1 minus the normal CDF at point 70. So suppose this phi at 70 mu sigma is represented, because sigma is given to be 10, so it is simply a function of mu, so I am representing it as p mu. So this probability that x is more than 70 given mu, here I should have put given mu, so this should be 1 minus p mu. Hence the likelihood function then will be p mu raised to y into 1 minus p mu raised to z. So where z is nothing but whatever the total number of cars were observed, that minus y, that will be z. So in this case, you can easily guess the constant of proportionality. The constant of proportionality will be simply y plus z choose y. So I am here writing it as c. So thus, since y equal to 1 and z is equal to 17 is given, so we get the likelihood function as, this likelihood function is nothing but the probability distribution of the data. So this will be simply p mu raised to 1 into 1 minus p mu raised to 17. Now mu is supposed to have a flat prior. Now what usually when flat prior is attached to a parameter, it means that no proper prior information is available regarding that parameter. So in short, we cannot favor one particular value of mu over the others. And so all values are to be treated equally, and so the density function is constant. So suppose that constant is k. Then the flat prior density of mu can be specified like this. pi mu is simply k for every mu on the real line. Here k is a positive constant. So now the joint distribution of the data means yz. You can simply say y and mu will be product of these two. So now because the joint distribution actually decides the posterior distribution through the fact that posterior distribution of the parameter is proportional to the joint distribution. So we have pi of mu given the data is proportional to this. So now C and K are simply constants. So basically the posterior distribution is proportional to P mu raised to 1 means simply P mu into 1 minus P mu raised to 17. Now since P mu itself doesn't have a closed form expression in terms of mu, it is really difficult to integrate this out or to get this in a better form than this. So in order to evaluate this posterior density further, let us use R. So now how do we go about it? So we are in R. So we have been given y as 1 and z as 17. So y is 1, z 17. Now let us first compute the value p mu and treat it as a function of mu. So I have written a user defined function, a very simple function which computes the CDF of normal distribution at point 17, at point 70 with mean mu and standard deviation 10. So I am calling it as p mu. You can read here. So let us run this. Okay, so let us check whether it is working or not. So p mu. So what will be the chance that, or what is the CDF of normal distribution at point 17 if the mean is say 100? So let us see. Okay, the chances are only 0.001349. Now what will be the same probability if the mean is say more, say 140? Yeah, the probability reduces further. Now you can notice that if I take the mean to be a less value, say around 80, let us see. The chances that the speed will be less than 70 increases significantly. Okay, so this was just trial. I was just checking whether the function p mu is working properly or not. Now let us come back to the likelihood function. So the likelihood function is simply the product of p mu raised to y into 1 minus p mu raised to z into the constant term. Now here, as we have already noticed that it must have a binomial distribution. So the constant term will be simply y plus z choose y. So I have written here a user defined function where the argument is mu. The first term is p mu. So to compute p mu, I will have to call the function p mu by specifying the parameter as mu, then p mu at mu raised to y. That will be the first term. Then the second term is 1 minus p mu at point mu, all this whole term raised to z. And then finally the last term will be term 1 into term 2 into choose y plus z comma y. So clearly this whole function is actually giving you the value of binomial PMF at point y. So we can directly compute this by using the binomial PMF as well. Let us see. Let us first execute this and let us try doing that also. So let us see what is the value at point 80. Let us see L mu at point 80. So it is 0.1514554. Goes close to P mu naturally, because when, okay, now let us see what will be the binomial PMF. So D binom at point 1, size is 18 and probability is P mu at point mu. So let us take 80. Let us see what do we get. See, it is exactly same. So instead of all these terms, let us save our time and simply write the function as so we are supposed to get the same value. Alright, see. Yes, so we are right. Now let us try to compute the posterior PDF. Now note that since prior distribution is a flat prior, which is an improper prior, so we don't have directly a proper distribution as a posterior distribution. What at most we know is posterior distribution is proportional to this likelihood function multiplied by the constant k. So let us first define posterior PDF like this. So let us write a function which is user defined function, which is a function of mu, and the function considers multiplication of the two terms, the likelihood function and the prior PDF. So let us run this. Now in order to obtain the proper PDF, proper posterior distribution, we will have to integrate this so that we will get the constant of proportionality. So the constant of proportionality will be 1 upon integration of this posterior PDF with respect to mu. Now since mu is a real valued parameter, so the lower limit of integration should be minus infinity and the upper limit should be infinity. So we will apply the integrate function in R to get the integration of this posterior distribution. So let us try. So let us look at the value of C1 here. So it will be a huge number. So yes, as expected, it's a huge number. Now let us define the proper version of posterior distribution of mu by dividing the earlier one with this, by multiplying the earlier one with this constant. So let us multiply. So PS PDF is now proper posterior distribution of mu. Now you might be curious regarding the look of this posterior distribution. So how can we determine how is it going to look? So let us take some values of mu and let us compute the posterior PDF at those values. So now how did I decide 10 to 130? So since it was 70 given earlier, so I have arbitrarily chosen 70 plus minus 60 here. You can try other values, it doesn't matter. We can change these values as well. So let us run. Let us compute the posterior PDF at all these values and let us have a look at the plot. Now let us zoom it to have a better picture. Okay, so you can guess easily. So the distribution has a long tail, means even if you had started from the point 30 to 120, you would have got a good idea about the posterior distribution of mu. So now you can easily identify that the posterior mode lies between points 80 and 90. Right, 90 will be somewhere here. So posterior mode must be close to 90. Okay, so let us find the posterior mode. Notice that it is not a symmetric distribution. It has longer tails. It has long tails, but it is concentrated around this point. So it's narrow. So the variance is not huge. Okay, so to obtain the posterior mode, we will simply look at the maximum value of posterior PDF. So let us look at the maximum value of posterior PDF, and then let us look at the value of mu at which the maximum value is attained. So that will be your posterior mode. So the posterior mode is 86. Now here we are getting integer values because the values of mu which we used to plot the posterior PDF were integer valued. If you narrow down this search and if you say 30 to 130, and if you increase this by say 0.01, the graph will also change a bit, not drastically, but it will have a better look. So this is how the graph will look. And now let us try to obtain the posterior posterior mode. So it is 85.93, means around 86. So the posterior mode is around 86. In similar fashion, you can also compute the posterior mean. So the question which was asked was, what is the chance that posterior distribution, the question was, what is the posterior mean of mu? So this posterior mode I have obtained. I expect you to obtain the posterior mean of the same distribution.